Hello everyone. This guide covers the configuration tool which is used for Purlos to integrate Purlos with your college system. This is a graphical tool. It is similar to the FIT or the Pro Solution DB config tool. Essentially, you download a zip file which has an executable file in it, and you extract everything and then run that file, and that enables you to test your settings and upload the information from your system to the Perlos um, cloud system. So it's a small zip file, and the idea behind it is it removes the complexity and enables full testing, so you can test the database connection to your internal college server. You can test where the file's being saved to locally, and you can upload it to the FTP on Purlos. And the only settings you have to enter are the settings that are unique to your college, whereas everything else is provided is the same for everyone, so it's pre-configured in the tool. So the tool avoids the need for Microsoft SQL Server Integration Services (SSIS). So the only task the college has to do is produce the SQL code, which will export your campaign information to be uploaded to the FTP, because that will vary per college. But it takes the complexity away of having to work out a process to get the data out of your database into a file and sent to Perlos. So the SQL part, hopefully all colleges will be able to do, because they'd have somebody in the MIS data department who could do the SQL part, but not everybody has the additional skills needed to do the uploading. And the other point is it produces the exceptions, error messages, which can be screenshotted and sent to the IT department for them to open up the firewall and that kind of thing as well. So I'll show you the tool in a second. Essentially there's a zip file with a few files in it, two executable files. One is a command line file, which is which is one you can schedule to run overnight with Task Scheduler, which is part of Windows Server and Windows Client. It needs to be run on the server though, probably because the server will be turned on all the time. And if you did it on your own computer and you wanted to run it overnight, when you shut down, it wouldn't be able to run. So that's the reason for that. And it is also, if you make a change to your campaign, add a field to your table, the tool will automatically pick up changes and upload the file without any further configuration. Whereas if you'd use SQL integration services, you'd have to go in and edit the package and refresh all the columns and fiddle about with it. And essentially, this could be quite a big time-saving utility, because SQL integration service is often quite a pain to configure. So I'll just take you through the tool. So if I go to share my screen, so hopefully you can see the screen now, and then I'll just go to the tool. So first I'll show you the zip file. So if I go to the download folder, basically you get the file. Actually, if I show you that first. If you go to go to GitHub, Robin Wilson 16 configure import export, and then when you're on there, it's got releases. It's currently version 1.1.2 from May the 19th. You click on that, takes the latest version, and then you can get the zip file. You download the zip file, and you end up with these files in the zip file. Not quite as many files, because I've actually run it, so I get a log file. Because every time you run it, it'll produce a log file to show you it was successful or not, or if it wasn't successful. So this one was a failure. So this is useful as well for recording onto IT, because you can send the screenshot, but also the log file can be quite useful as well. And if you're running it overnight, then the log file is produced. So I'll put it on the right screen. So you can see there what the error was. Login failed for user. Basically, there's a blank username there. That's the problem with that one. So if you go to the tool, this is what it looks like. And you can see at the top you've got welcome, database settings, export settings. file settings, FTP settings, run export task, and about. And these are the stages you would proceed through it, and they're also lower down here as well. But whether you click on them here, the icons are very small in here as well, or you click on them up here, it's the same difference. So if we go to database settings first, I've already put some information in here to avoid me typing it constantly whilst you're looking. So the server name, the database name are here. I've clicked to use Windows Authentication, but you could also type in a username and a password if you wanted. So if I press test settings, it's not working. Hang on. It's because there's a firewall here. I just need to go into something and it should work. Okay, it's a good test. So once this comes up, okay, try it again. Yeah, it's successful. But if I go to that and I change the server name to put something invalid in, it'll press test settings. It'll try for 10 seconds to connect to the server that's specified, and if it can't connect to it, it will fail. Just in case, it's basically trying to find that because it doesn't exist, so it's trying for so long. There we go. So it timed out. So it said it wasn't found, or wasn't accessible. So press OK. So once you've put the correct information in, you press test settings, and it's correct. You can then press save changes, and then you can proceed to the and it tells you up here in green if it's valid. Go export settings, and then put information here. I put database in here, DBO, and then you can pick a table overview from that database or a store procedure. There's only one of each in this one at the moment, so you pick the one that's just only show you ones that you have in your database. You can't get that wrong because it's giving you the options that are in your database, and then you would put that information in. If it's a store procedure, you do one or the other of these. So if you didn't want a table, you take that out and you just do store procedure. And then parameter, academic year, you might have 24/25. And then you can test that as well. And then file settings, this is where you want to save the file. If you don't put a location in here, it defaults to the folder where the zip file was unzipped and where you run the configuration tool from. And then I believe this is default. So basically I made it so the bits in light blue are the bits you need to fill in on each screen. So obviously on this one it's everything. On this one it's just the table or sub procedure that you want to use, and optionally the parameters. And then file settings, because you can just leave it at the location where it already is, so you don't have to fill that in. You do need to give it a file name, and if you're wanting to, because you can either specify a file name here where it's always the same file name, or you can make the file name come from review, which can be useful if you're making a column the current date, because then the current date will go in as the file name, which I think is generally what Purlos asks for. And then on the FTP settings, this is already filled in, so the only thing you would need to do would be fill in the username and the password, and the rest of it is shouldn't need to be changed because Pelos will have the same information for all customers. The option is here to upload the file or not upload the file. Because when you're testing the other bits, you might not want to upload the file every time. So there's an option there to not upload it until you finish configuring it. You're happy with what you've got, then you can press upload and then fill this bit in, and then it'll upload the file as well. And then when you've done all of that, finally do run export task, and that will run the tool, and it'll tell you if it was successful or not as well. And so when you press to save the information, if you go to the folder where it's exported to, you'll see that app settings has got the current date and time on it. And if you open that, it's essentially you could code this by hand if you wanted to, but the idea is the graphical tool makes it much easier to fill in and test the different bits. So that's that. So that's essentially what the tool does, how it works, and hopefully you'll find it's a much easier way to get Pearls up and running within your college environment. And happy to take any questions if you have any problems using the tool. You do need the latest version of the .NET framework, version 9. I've realized my videos, so I'll just go back to that. That's it. So you need the .NET 9 version of .NET, and because the tool is written in the latest version, so you might need IT to update that on your computer, or you may be able to do it yourself if you're on the server. So that's everything for today, and the tool will be further enhanced. As you can see, it has the logos for Hartlepool College because that was the initial trial college that was using it to provide feedback. So obviously, when it's rolled out to other colleges, it won't have their logo in it. So hope you found this video useful, and that there will be a written guide provided as well for you to refer to. Thank you.